Hello and welcome to the Walk in Love podcast. I'm TJ.
And I'm Brooke.
And today we are going to talk about posture towards summer.
I like it.
My actual posture towards summer is I need to go to the chiropractor. My literal posture is not quite as upright as I'd like it to be the last few weeks. Gotta go see Molly.
Thank you for listening to the Walk in Love podcast, a weekly conversation between Brooke and I as we talk about rhythm, faith, emotions, parenting, and lots of other stuff. It's a place where we laugh and sometimes cry as we try to find language to live a more joy-filled life.
You want me to say my line?
Yeah.
Sorry. And if you lovely people, like you're listening to Line Up With Your Living, then you are in the right place.
There was a split second today, well, probably a 30, 40 minutes of today where I was not living a very joy-filled life. The wild whiplash of, there was a split second. Actually, it was a good hour and a half of my life. Actually, it was you know what? Here's the deal. I was leaving church and looked both ways. Started pulling out. All of a sudden, there was a car in front of me. No idea where it came from. Thankfully, it was a lifted truck, and I was in a minivan, so I just hit its wheel. It roughed up the minivan a little bit.
Yeah,
like a couple little dents and dings. But thankfully, their truck was okay, and they were really kind about it. But man, when I do stuff like that, I can't.
It gives you some dents and some dings and some scrapes.
I like anything that I can do, anything that I've ever done that is like easily avoidable.
So, yeah. Flush? I still don't understand.
Flush this down the toilet.
Flush this out with me.
Okay.
So the alternative is something was not avoidable and it happened, and then you're not as hard on yourself because you're like, well, it was
nothing I could do.
There's
Let's say I get injured in a sport. Like I hurt, or let's say I break my ankle the night before our first daughter's born, jumping over a couch.
Such a specific example of what might happen.
Let's say that happened.
Okay.
I was irritated. I was frustrated. That hurt. I was in pain, but I wasn't. Well, actually, that one I was pretty.
I'm like, I think you're giving examples.
That's a bad example. Okay.
But that's kind of my point. Kind of my question. Don't we all feel that way?
Maybe.
Because don't we all believe that most of it's avoidable?
Oh man, it just grinds my gears that I didn't take a split second and double check, and my whole the damage could have been avoided, the frustration could have been avoided, the kids being scared in the back seat could have been avoided, and it was like a minor a real small ding. It wasn't but I also have this memory of and this is so specific. We had in our old house in Pennsylvania, we had a baby gate at the top of the stairs. And I remember one day jumping over and being like, oh, that looks a little loose. I should tighten that. I'll do it later. And then 30 minutes later, June pushed it over and had this huge knot in her head. And I remember
through the top step landing, not actually down the stairs, but yeah.
And I just remember kicking myself over I should have just done it then. I should
all over yourself.
Shoulda. And so, I spiral with stuff like that. I don't know what the difference is. I think the difference is, I don't know. I don't know what the difference is, but it really messes with me.
It does.
And so if I feel a little flustered during this podcast, it's because that happened about 2 hours ago. And I'm for a split second, I'm still in that split second, not rage. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed in myself.
Wildly disappointed in who I am.
And who I am and who I've always been. It's my birthday on Saturday. I told Brooke to return all the presents. Birthday corner is canceled. I don't deserve it.
Well, I woke up this morning and realized.
Here's the good news. I haven't bought you a single present.
Here's the good news. I woke up this morning and went, holy should his birthday's this weekend. That means I started doing reverse time math, right? That means the night before there's a corner. That means that at least the day or two before that, I'm buying things for a corner. That means today I need to know what the corner is. So little panicked. And then it's Father's Day, the actual next day. So
just pull the bumper off of the car, put it in the corner.
I actually have an idea for the corner.
And just say, you deserve nothing.
This is all you deserve.
Happy birthday, old man.
No, I have an idea. I have not flushed it out yet. I haven't flushed it down yet. I need to do that because I think it'll work, and then I'm excited about it. But
nice.
I mean, last year I
raised the bar.
I unintentionally really raised the bar for myself.
You've stuck with it though.
I have. It's because I do enjoy it. It's the brief moments of like, should I be an event designer? Should I work in weddings again? And then I'm like, no, absolutely not. Just cut out cardboard mushrooms for your kid's birthday and let that be
enough. Yeah.
That's enough. So I do have an idea. We will see next week when we record this. Actually, depending on when we record, I still might not have made it.
Yeah.
But
the idea might be flushed down a little bit more.
It might be a little more flushed down and out. So
might have plunged it a little bit and then just to get it down all the way.
Have you ever had to ask for a plunger in someone else's home?
I don't think so.
I don't think I have either. Because I've purposely, I was cleaning the bathroom.
I'll crap my pants before I ask.
What is it? That's what you do the bathroom, but it's Ross. Doesn't he have his leather pants on? And then he's in the bathroom and he can't get isn't it Ross? And he can't get his pants back up. So he puts lotion on. And then he pulls and slaps himself.
One way through.
Pretty sure it's him. Anyway, I've never had to ask for one, but I was cleaning our bathrooms the other day and I noticed that the plunger was in what is now is the guest bathroom. And I was like, oh, do I leave that in there? Like, do I want the plunger in there? And then I was like, well, if they need it, then they don't have to ask. So it just felt like, I don't know, is it actually the nicer thing to do?
Yeah.
To keep it in that bathroom?
They're dropping bombs.
I'm just thinking about their butts when they visit.
Every visitor that comes, Brooke is thinking about their butt.
I'm really worrying about your butt. And if you're going to need a plunger or not, and I don't want you to be like, hey, so
I took a massive dump and now I'm embarrassed. Speaking of visitors, we have two things. First, I'll tell a story. Then I'll tell you something else.
Okay.
We get a text message 2 weeks ago. I mean, not even 2 weeks ago. Maybe probably 2 weeks ago. From Jesse Early, who wrote Best Day With You, the song that I gave Brooke for Christmas 2 years ago.
3 years ago?
3 years ago. If you've never listened to it.
If you're new and you're like, what? You have a song? Yeah, apparently we do.
And
I'll say it. It's fantastic.
It's awesome.
Jesse wrote it. It's
Jesse
amazing.
wrote it, yeah. So we get this text message from Jesse. She's like, hey, long story short.
Crazy turn of events. I'm going to be on Maui.
I'm going to be on Maui in next week.
Yeah.
Can we hang out? And we're like, obviously. Brooke's, I've never met her. Brooke met her once. Brooke was in Nashville where she lives on a girls trip, and Jesse like swung by the coffee shop that you guys were going to be at, and you guys got to talk and hang out and all this kind of stuff. So
I remember vividly because we had tried to meet up earlier on the Nashville trip and it didn't work, and then this was like kind of our second or third connection attempt. And she was like, oh, are you going to be wherever? And I was like, no, we're still at this coffee shop. Like, it was just not working out. And she was like, I'm leaving church and coming to find you. And so she just like came into the general area downtown or not downtown, like the area we were in, Parks, and is like, I'm walking on whatever street. I'm near this shop. Where are you? And I was like, we're right up the street at the whatever coffee shop we were at. She comes in, meets us, hangs out for a little bit. And it was like maybe 15, 20 minutes, like not a lot of time. Cause I think we were leaving, maybe even leaving for the airport later or something. And I'll just never forget when I hugged her bye, she goes, I'm so sorry. I had to like totally track you down and do this because you're moving to Maui. And it's like, I'm never going to see you again or something about you moving to Maui. And like, this is my only chance to connect.
Right.
And I just vividly remember that. And so then to get the text that's like, I'm going to be here. I was like, yes.
Yeah. So she was like part of this like cohort of songwriters that were going to like teach like a little workshop conference to a church on the island. Mm-hmm. And so she texts us when she gets here and she's like, and they kept her pretty busy. So, so we were like, okay, what about Wednesday? And we're trying to figure out details. And then she texts someone. She's like, we've honestly just been slammed doing this thing, driving all over the place. her and her friend, we're just changing our trip. We're going to, well, first I told her, I said, are you going to bring the family? Because if you are, they can all come and stay with us. Do you need a place to stay? We text her all this beforehand. So she texts us and she's like, Wednesday was seeming too tight to like actually get to see her. Mm-hmm. So she's like, but my friend and I are thinking about changing our flight. Can we spend 2 nights at your house?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we were midway through switching the rooms. So that put the pedal to the metal on getting those switched because
yes,
we had like put up board and batten, right? That's what it's called. Mm-hmm. We hadn't caulked yet. We hadn't repainted yet.
Right.
They were like,
we were still moving at a decent pace. But then I was like, well, I'm not going to go rebuild the queen bed in this room when it's made to go in the other room. I'm also not going to make them sleep in our living room.
Yeah. Our queen bed was in the living room.
Here we go.
So we got it all fit. We got it all switched over. Mm-hmm. They came and hang out. Switch swap. Jessie and her friend Michaela came and hung out with us for 2 days, which was super fun.
Yeah.
She is
funny.
She's funny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she wrote the best song ever. And
she's written a lot of great songs.
I kept I wanted to do it more, but Brooke told me not to. I wanted to tell Siri to play her songs every time I came in the room.
Yeah. And
partly to be funny, but like honestly, we listen to her music in all of its varieties a ton.
Yeah.
She has her own stuff, Jessie Early. Mm-hmm. She's a band called Bien, which has the best Christmas album ever called Holiday Cheer. We play it year round. Mm-hmm. Sunny and Daisy play it year round. And then she's been featured on other worshipy type stuff.
Yeah.
And then she's written songs for
most of what she does actually is write for other people. Yeah.
But it was super fun to have her and just like sort of impromptu visitors, which is not something that happens a lot here. So that was super great. But there was a moment they got to be a part of our Sabbath.
Yeah.
Which they were like, we need to do this because like the girls asked if they could have another popsicle or something like that. And I said, of course you can. It's Sabbath, baby. Mm-hmm. I kept saying it's Sabbath, baby. And they were just like, I love this. I love this for me. And so we went, so they were part of our Shabbat dinner. And then we went to the beach the next morning. And there was this moment where the girls, like I dug my hole. TJ's hole was really great.
The hole was great. It filled up a little quickly.
So I've been working on sort of a spiral technique where I dig a main hole.
Yes.
I got my main hole.
Yes.
It's usually pretty deep.
Yeah. Yes.
Then I dig some trenches around the main hole.
Yes.
To protect the main hole from getting like obliterated by the tide. Mm-hmm. And so it slowly fills and the kids like kind of crawling through the trenches.
Yes.
Takes 4 hours and we're ready to go by the time
we drive separately now.
Yeah, I go early.
I leave with the kids. TJ's still there digging. But it's worth it.
But the family that comes after us, they have a great time. Oh, that's whole guy.
I hope not. Because there are other people on the beach where I'm like, that's so-and-so.
That's Frisbee guy.
That's Frisbee guy. That's toupee guy. That's very stretchy guy. Do you know who I mean?
Yes.
Like, what is your body made out of?
Yep.
And why is your bathing suit so small, sir? For being that stretchy. Why are you stretching in the sand? I have so many questions for stretchy guy from like
let's just put it this way. If you saw a stretchy guy walking down the street beside you, you wouldn't say, hey, this guy can probably
put a Speedo over his head and a Speedo on the beach. If I wouldn't be that specific. I'd be like, I don't know. I mean, maybe, but let me tell you right now.
I'm refraining from so many jokes right now.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, I just like, oh gosh, I hope you're not a whole guy.
Anyways, so we're sitting on the beach and Daisy and I are eating snacks. June and Sunny are playing. And you, Jessie, and Michaela are in the water.
Mm-hmm. Junie was in there.
Yeah, Junie
was
in there. Yeah,
with us.
And I can hear Jessie laughing from the beach. Like she's got a very powerful voice because of her singing. Yeah, and so she's laughing super hard. And I had this moment of, this is exactly what we're hoping for the Moms on Maui trip. Mm-hmm. Like this is it. This is the magic of like,
this is the best part. This is the best
one of her songs. I know. Nice. Well done.
Our soundboard just becomes all clips of her.
Yeah. And I just felt so like excited for you and for their people have applied. Some people we've said yes to.
Yeah.
One of those is already planning matching tattoos for the whole group. So
she's like, how soon is too soon to text group tattoo ideas in the group text? And I was like, it's a little too soon, but I'm into your energy.
Yeah, I like the energy.
Bring
just
the
with
energy.
less needles.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was this really like sort of, I feel like we've been having a lot of clarity of like, we have this really great place on earth to provide people for rest. And like even the impromptu visitors of Jesse and Michaela sitting at our Shabbat dinner and then being part of our Sabbath and seeing seeing sort of like the light bulb of just like, oh, this could be weekly.
Yeah.
This could have a lot of power in our lives. And I was trying to tell him, I said, the reason we do this is not just so like I want to teach my kids how to rest. I wasn't taught really how to rest as a child. I mean,
not generationally. And I think I could go back and be like, well, I don't know if they're parents. And then I don't know if. And
so June as an 8-year-old doesn't really technically need a lot of rest. Like they have a pretty laid back life, but June is a 38-year-old, which I will turn in 1 week.
I'm aware. I'm aware of when your birthday is.
Needs to know how to rest in the midst of life and bumping into cars and all this kind of stuff. And so it was just cool to kind of have those conversations. And then, just that moment in the ocean, I was like, that's it. That's what we're hoping to provide for people.
Yeah. Just with more beach chairs.
Just with more beach chairs and
I'm working on that.
And just, so we're going to link the details in the show notes to the Moms on Maui trip. I think it will be something that you will look back on. I feel like it'll be sort of like an integrated light where it's like, it's not the business side of integrated, but it's sort of the family and the faith side of just like, and the rejuvenation side where I go there and I sort of get like re-fired up to come back and be a great dad.
Yeah.
I feel like when you come on this trip and you spend time in the ocean laughing with Brooke and hanging out on the beach and watching her cook and talking over lattes and all this kind of stuff.
Swimming after turtles with all your might. Only to lose them because they are so fast. Even though they barely move their legs. I would like to be described that way sometime, but it has yet to happen.
And I just think it'll be just this like re-energizing moment of motherhood or of just like being a wife that you just like come back and you're like, I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to do this. So all the details are in the show notes.
It's exciting.
We had issues with the details last week. Like a link got messed up and never changed. So if you had trouble finding it, I'll make sure that it works this time.
Yeah.
And if you have trouble finding that, just message us and I'll send it to you. But how it was just so fun. We wanted to get Jessie on the podcast, but she was only here for like 36 hours.
Yeah.
So it just didn't work out, but we're trying to talk her into coming back with her whole family.
That would be really fun.
So Brooke, how was your week? Or did I just go over it?
I think you just went over it. I don't know. I feel like it was it's like this is my brain trying to go backwards in time and be like, what did we so we did all the way back. Monday and Tuesday all week was the Wild and Free summer camp. I just couldn't go to every day.
Yeah.
But we went to Monday and Tuesday, which was fun. So we built rockets on Monday afternoon, launched those, and then on Tuesday, the girls and Daisy, she went with us. We made leis at the tropical plantation, which is always beautiful. So we were there and that was really fun. So that was kind of Monday and Tuesday. I just did I told myself Monday morning, because I was like, okay, the main thing today is taking the girls to this camp, which was up country. So I did have to drive quite a ways to get there. And I'm like, so this morning is really just about some household things and whatever. And so in my head, I have named mornings like that, like moose muffin mornings or days, like whatever, where it is fully okay. I'm letting go of all the you should do it differently or be more efficient or you're scattered. When I'm like, I'm not. I'm choosing for this to be my morning.
Yeah.
So I made myself a latte and I noticed, wow, the tray part that fills up with water is really gross.
Nice.
Let's clean that out. So I paused and I cleaned that out and I put it back. Then I made my latte. Then I went out and did something with the laundry. And when I was out there, I noticed something else. And I just let myself moose muffin. I got a bunch of stuff done. All things that my brain has been thinking about.
Ate a ton of muffins.
I made and I ate. Those mooses involved. Mice?
Moosin.
Such an old reference. So anyway, that was like, I was okay with that. And I have to like claim it and name it that. Or otherwise I feel like I had a morning where I just bopped around and what did I do? And I'm like, well, I did stuff. Yeah. All stuff that needs to happen at some point. I was just okay with it, like, you know, kind of weaving all over the place instead of this, like, I could have written all of those things down on a to-do list. Clean out Keurig thing, clean out espresso thing, you know, whatever. Right. But I just didn't spend my time doing that and instead was okay to kind of meander through the morning, which was nice.
We've been having a lot of conversations, Brooke and I, about sort of like I guess we'll just go right into the topic. I think that's a good segue. Like, what does summer look like? What is our role right now?
What are we doing?
And
what are we doing?
Again, I think in a really good, positive way. I think the theme of what we try to talk about every week is that conversation needs to be ongoing between husband and wife all the time.
Yeah.
And it needs to be deeper than your average conversation. Like, I think we have so many conversations that are so surface level in our lives, and that surface is getting shallower and shallower with internet and technology and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, like, how are you doing? You know, and someone sends an emoji that's like, you know, like, you're like, that isn't really this conversation about the recesses of your heart.
Right.
And the, you know, the plight of your humanity.
Your beach holes. We're not going.
Yeah. Like, you know, and so not to say you have to have these conversations with everyone, but you should be having these conversations with your spouse.
Yeah.
Because that is going to provide foundational intimacy to grow your lives together.
Yeah.
And so one of the conversations that we've been having a lot lately is, what are our roles? You know, we went from this time of life where we had basically a full-time nanny, not really full-time, but she was here every day. So we had opportunity to work and sit down together and plan and dream and vision and do all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And we got a lot of like back end stuff done, not all of it. And then she's getting married, which is amazing. We're going to her wedding at the end of the month. So we now are in this season of like, we don't have any extra help.
Right.
You know, we got school, we want to try to take care of ourselves and our bodies. We want to eat it right. We want to have a spiritual life. And we still need to run our businesses. And so there's this element of, what direction are we allowed? Are we being pulled in? What directions are we going to just like chop it off at the leg and just like let it go for now?
Or even like the driving. Have we talked about the cars on here?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's jump into that.
I can't remember if we have or not. This was like a while ago. This was maybe, because if I don't know if y'all remember, but we had had many conversations, named it, talked about it, like all these things that led us into the like 6-week work sprint that we were in for a while.
Yeah.
We are out of that. I wish everything that we were sprinting towards was done. Unfortunately, it's not, which is a whole separate lesson and thing to be learning, that like you can sprint towards something and not always cross all the finish lines, but it doesn't mean that your sprinting was for nothing. Whew, preaching to myself.
I can also sprint in a minivan right into the wheel of a truck, in case you're wondering. If anybody needs that specific type of sprinting, let me know.
Is that what a sprinter van is?
Yeah, maybe that's where they got the name.
Okay, that makes sense. But at some point during that 6-week work sprint, I came to you and was feeling swirly and overwhelmed. So same questions of like, I don't know what to be working on. I don't know what matters most. I kind of know what matters most.
But it all matters.
But it all matters. But it can't. It can't all matter most, or it's not actually like, you know, all that. Yeah. And so what I said, I feel like I'm driving all these different cars. You know, that, like, I don't know if it's actually a classic conversation people have, but I feel like it's been talked about before, where it's like, which is better if you're trying to get 2 cars from point A to point B? Do you drive one? You gotta drive 2 cars
a mile.
2 cars a mile, right? Do you drive car 1 all the way and then walk around back and drive the other one all the way? Or do you like, like one?
What do you do?
What? I think I would drive 1 car all the way.
Okay. What if you had 3 cars?
Do I have to run? See, to me, it's all about if I have to run back because it's a time that, no, I'm more exhausted. I think I might still choose that. And which this was not a full part of our conversation, but anyway, I kept saying, I feel like I'm I'm spending so much of my time literally just mentally and emotionally getting in and out of cars that when I finally get in one to drive it, and I only drive it for 10 minutes or one task or whatever, it just doesn't feel, and I recognize I'm using the word feel, quite as impactful or as whatever as if can we just pick 2 cars for me to drive for the next week? Like that's kind of what I was saying. And I feel like it's a similar thing. You could use that all the time. Like what cars are we driving right now? And just if we're not driving some of them, it doesn't mean we've like lit them on fire and they're never going to come back, but they might be way back there. And just this like picturing, and then many conversations we had about like, isn't that life? Just trying to move all the cars little by little by little by little and not negating the little progress, because at the end of a month or a year or 5 years, you'll be like, whoa, we drove that really, really far. So there's like a lot happening in the metaphor and in the language, but it's been helpful.
Like, if you think of it this way, like we have 3 kids. We're not going to drive one car 10 miles down the road and like just focus on June being a great kid and then be like, oh, then we'll run back and then we'll focus on Sunny and then we'll run back and then we'll focus on Daisy. Like we would have some messed up kids if we did that. You know, and so it definitely is a sort of like slow and steady. They all move forward at the same time. But when we talk about the analogy from like a real physical, practical sense, that's hard to do. Like I just asked you, which would you do? And you said, oh, I'd drive one and then run back a mile and drive the other one. Like, because finishing allows us to feel sort of this satisfaction of like, at least I'm halfway done. Even if
at least I can leave that car there,
to run a mile,
not get back into that one.
I'm at least done. And like, life just doesn't work like that. And so the conversation Brooke and I have been having, that which piggybacked off that work sprint, which piggybacked off of like a season of, oh, we don't have this extra help anymore, has been, what is my role? What is my role for the summer? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What are we calling it? And so I asked Brooke, I said,
even as a homeschooling family, what is our summer? What, like literally when are we determining the amount of time?
And so I said, well, what do you want summer to look like? And thankfully, because we've had lots of conversations, we are comfortable expressing the chair behind quickly. Brooke said, I want to be fun homeschool summer mom. Which was even though we're not like fully doing school, we're also not. Like we worked so hard on reading and some other things this year. I don't want to just be like, see you in August. You know, hopefully
reading.
You don't forget all this. You know.
But
TTYL. Oh, speaking of, I have a new segment. I'm not prepared for it this week, but it's going to be Brooke guesses Gen Z slang.
Oh, good night.
Just be ready for that.
I won't even know. Okay. I won't even know if you're making it up or if it's actually slang.
Oh, that's good. I'm going to add some fakies in there.
You could say stuff and I'd be like, ooh, I think I know what that means. I'm going to start using that.
Okay. And you'll be able to ask, can you use it in a sentence?
Oh, okay. Ooh, I like that.
Okay. Anyways.
I need to be able to clarify. Okay.
And so Brooke was like, I want to be fun homeschool mom. Fun homeschool summer mom, which I think is a really valuable answer to the question. And so it got me thinking of like, what do you, as the listener, want your summer to be? Like, what is, and so for me, I like reverse engineering things.
I was even going to say, I even said that because I had already reverse engineered in like just thinking or journaling or conversations with myself about like, I don't want to just be that because that makes me feel great. Like I fully recognize that if I can do that and show up as that, all the benefits like that trickles into so many other things, not just like, oh, I'm fine, I'm a cool mom. Like, you know, vibes.
And so, you know, at the end of the summer, and again, we're using summer as a season, specifically for those of family, like it's definitely a season when you have people that are doing some sort of schooling. Like we all remember summer. Some of you are like, well, I work the same job. Summer's going to feel the exact same.
But it feels different to your kids.
Some of you might like go on vacation in the summer. So there's that element that might be different. And again, it's just like in the fall, as you're swiping through the photos and videos and all the things that you took and saw and did, what is the, like, what will make you feel in the fall like you lived that full joy-filled life? What
season?
Like, what question are you, like, what is the answer to that question now? what kind of summer, like who do you want to be this summer? What do you want your summer to be like, like feel like? What do you want the identity of your summer to be? So ask yourself that question now, ask your spouse that question now, and then, try to look forward to the fall and say, okay, I'm sitting I just put my hoodie on because it's cold again, and I'm swiping through our summer photos. I'm ready to show our kids, like we're going to do some special Friday night. Like, let's look back at the summer thing, which I think is super valuable. What do I want to feel like then?
Yeah.
And that will probably give you your answer now. And then I think that will direct your path in the summer and probably help you make decisions quicker.
Yeah.
And help you make the right decision first instead of like, and so for me, I don't have an answer to that right now. Yeah. I've been sort of contemplating what that is and what that looks like for me. I definitely think it'll be different. Like Brooke obviously wants her summer to feel much more motherly and less work driven. Yeah. And so that might mean for me, mine might be a little bit more work driven. I might put a little bit more on my plate to allow Brooke to take some off of her plate. And so those are conversations that we're going to have and talk about. And so I think that the question is super valuable to sort of provide some place for conversational intimacy to flow, that you can hopefully come to like a summer mission statement or a summer sort of
even like a word for your summer. I think picking a word for your seasons is really helpful. We often do it for like our year as a whole, which is still great practice. But like you think about a whole year, I could choose any year. I could just like pick one out of all the years I've at least been married, maybe even before that, like out of a hat. And been like, oh, I can tell you what that year was all about. And it would be in chunks. It wouldn't just be like one whole statement for the whole year. Because I think every year has literal seasons in the weather, which can direct a lot of things, but also just like other seasons. And
so I have a question for you, Brooke. As we have a ton of moms listening, ton of ladies listening, but we also have some dudes listening. What's up, guys?
Love it.
What's up? Should we have a name for the guys? Like TJ's Whole Club or
no? Oh my goodness.
No. Okay.
No.
I'm brainstorming.
You're just spitballing. Okay.
Maybe I could come up with like some cool Gen Z slang of like TJ's No Cap Club. I don't know. I still don't know what that means.
I don't either.
Someone said it and I've heard it.
Yeah.
So
who said it?
No, I thought Michaela said it, and she said something else.
She said snow cap. She was talking about shave ice. Yes.
I was like, what does no cap mean? I've heard it.
I'm familiar with what it means, but everybody else at this table.
Why don't you tell everybody else what it means?
I love that for them.
Because I would love them for them to know. When you say I want to be fun homeschool summer mom, what do you mean by that? Like unpack that a little bit for us.
I part of me thinks I can take out the word homeschool. Like, because to me, fun summer mom is like, and I recognize that I already build in a lot of activities and crafts and things like that because it is part of our homeschooling. And I just enjoy those types of things. That doesn't stress me out to plan those or make those happen. But like fun summer mom means I'm really leaning into, and it is for the sake of my kids. But it's, I'm included in that. Like I'm part of the fun.
Okay.
Like I think like, oh, that'd be so fun for them and fun for them. And I'm like, but I'm the one taking them. So like, it's still fun for me.
Yeah.
Leaning into the season and just like even more time outside, even though it gets even hotter here, more time outside, like more walks, more bike rides, more like beach mornings or beach afternoons. Like asking friends who have like a pool, like, hey, can we come over and swim today? Like stuff that I would just kind of wait for an invite otherwise the rest of the year because we've got other stuff to do like school and this and that. And
like, is it almost like a shorter fuse from like idea to action? Like,
maybe a little bit instead of like, that's fun. It would be fun to go to the aquarium. Let's try to do that in the next 2 weeks.
Right.
Like, which is more like normal life, school, work, all the things. Where it's with summer, I feel a little more like, I guess maybe what I'm literally processing it right now out loud on the interwebs is a little more stuff out of the house, which is not typical for me.
No, you and I are definitely homebodies.
We are home a lot.
And our kids
so we do a lot. I have a lot of things to play here and do stuff here. But yeah, like just parks and friends and things like that, because I and it all stemmed for me because I don't know if you asked me the question or if we were just talking about it anyway with homeschooling, when you don't actually stop going to a building and seeing a group of friends and classmates and then going back to it in the fall, which I feel like has this, I mean, that was me, you know, I mean, I was only homeschooled for a few years.
It's like this hard in
elementary.
Yeah.
I remember it in elementary and I remember it. So I certainly remember it in high school. Like, you know, everybody would come back for the fall in high school and like some people looked totally different and some people were tan and you were like, oh my word, we really had, this was different. This was set apart differently than the rest of the year. And when we homeschool, which we do, and we meaning me and you, are home a lot because we work from home. Yeah. I'm like, it's not going to feel any different to our kids.
Right.
And I want it to feel different.
Yeah.
Because June was so excited that summer was coming and Sunny kept asking, is summer coming? And I'm like, and they don't even have a full concept of why summer would matter relating to like normal school, public school. And so I think that's kind of what it stemmed from for me of like, oh, I would like it to feel different. So when we settle back into the groove in like, you know, September of school is every day and we're doing some more of this stuff and we're back to a little like our more normal routine, I want them to be like, that felt different. Yeah. Instead of like, it's all just the same all the time.
And what's super helpful for, you know, for those of us who live with a 7-day rhythm is like, you can plug all that stuff in pretty easily. Like you don't have to like go back to the drawing board and feel like, oh, now I got to figure out how to be like more fun in the summer. Like you're just like, okay, well on Tuesdays we go to the beach in the morning. Boom, done. That's in the rhythm. It's there and it's great. And
we're definitely kind of rewriting our family, not all of it, but elements of the weekly rhythm for summertime.
But having that sort of like framing of fun summer mom helps us rewrite that and reestablish that. We still have, we're 2 weeks away from a trip. So we're like in this weird in between of like, we're just going to kind of get through these 2 weeks, not just get through them.
The trip it actually makes me feel very weird, not in like a bad way, but I'm like, it feels very disruptive to summer here to me. And it also is like, but it's also going to be summer there.
I also feel like it's sort of, I do feel like because we homeschool and because we don't have this like hard in and out of regular school, I do feel like a trip in the summer is very beneficial to sort of give our kids that vibe of like, oh yeah, during summer we go on a trip or we go travel somewhere. And so this might actually end up become part of what we do because of how it like makes the girls feel. Cause like they are so excited to go on an airplane at night. And you know, really the only other time we do that during the year is for Christmas. And so if we can maybe add this element of summer travel and Christmas travel, then maybe there's this like magical connection in their brains and hearts that like, this is part of summer. We go on a trip and we could, you know, we could figure out where, I mean, this is very specifically for a wedding. Yeah. And then for the best is yet to come, we've made that a part of it. Yeah. But there is this element where we can like sort of tinker with that idea and see if this like really sparks joy and love and kind of excitement in their hearts to like continue that practice.
Yeah. The naming of Fun Summer Mom has also helped me. Cause there are times, I don't know, maybe it's all the time, you could say like, I do not like the phrase type A. Do not like, I don't even know what to call it, but you know, I do like my consistency. I want to know what to expect. I want to be prepared, all those things. And so that can trickle out into like, I really want them to be in bed by 7:30. Like it can come down to like, it's not strict. It's not, I don't even know what you'd call it, but I'm trying to be like, it's okay. They don't have to be up for anything tomorrow. Actually, they rarely do ever, but I still would like to start school by 8 because if I'm trying to be working and blah, 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 like it does matter. It can't just be all willy-nilly all the time because then stuff that is important doesn't get done. And that's very stressful. But the girls have been staying up way later and not in the name of like, I'm fun mom. Look at me, how fun I am for you. Like, it's not that. Yeah. But we were at a birthday party late the one night and I was just like, it's okay. They'll sleep on the way down the mountain and they'll sleep in their beds and they'll get up in the morning. And if they have to nap, so be it. Yeah. And so there's some element of like not holding all that quite as tightly and just being like, that is okay during the summer.
Which is hard for you.
It is hard, but it's funny. It's like, it's harder for me in my head. Like the conversations I'm having with myself about like, okay, but what if, and what if after 4 nights of this, they lose their minds and then I have to deal with that. I don't want to deal like, so it's very much in my head, because if somebody was like, oh, can they stay up late? I'd be like, I would very quickly have the conversation with myself and probably come to the same conclusion, which is like, yeah, it's totally fine. It's actually not a big deal.
Right.
But it's all the like swirliness in my head of like,
which is so interesting because like, let's say you let him stay up 4 nights in a row.
Does that make any sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does actually. And I see you have those conversations because you have them out loud with me too. And I'm like, I don't know what to What's crazy is like you run through this scenario, this made up scenario in your head.
Constantly.
If they stay up 4 nights in a row, they're going to melt down on night 5. Let's just say that's the scenario that you're running through in your head.
Okay.
When they melt down in life, you always keep your cool.
Oh, I know.
And
I don't think I've
this
ever
element
lost
of
it.
like,
I don't think I've ever lost it on the
there's
girls.
this element of like,
I don't know if I've ever really yelled at them.
there's this element of like this fake scenario.
Yes.
Like where me, like I look.
In 5 days, will I be out of my coins? Will it finally happen?
Mm-hmm.
Will the thing I'm afraid of finally happen?
And so
what is going to push it to that? And I don't want to get to that.
And so
but I don't think I've ever actually gotten to that.
So does fun summer mom have more coins, or is she just more willing to spend them without secretly keeping like some reserve stash?
She's more willing to spend them. She's way more willing to spend them.
And is summer mom, summer fun mom, this is great. This is sort of like one of those
like
podcasts,
a no notes show
where we like kind of had a idea of what we're going to talk about, but I love where this is going. Okay.
If you haven't, we have an episode called Coin Talk
and Coin Talk 2.0.
If you're like, what are these coins we're talking about? You can go listen to that.
Yeah. So real briefly, the idea of the coins is like introverts start the day with 10 coins that they have to use.
I wake up with my coins and I spend them throughout the day.
It's a Simon Sinek talk.
Interactions, whatever.
Extroverts gain coins as they go. I go to the gym.
They wake up with no coins and you gather your coins throughout the day.
You know, all this kind of stuff. And so we've had a few conversations about this. So let's say summer fun mom.
Yes.
SFM.
I was just about to go. No, fun summer mom.
FSM.
FSM.
Let's say you have, how many months are in the summer? 3?
Yeah.
Let's say you have a coin a day. You got 90 coins.
Okay.
For the summer.
Okay.
You're telling me that you are more willing to just like spend that coin quickly, knowing that you're identifying this summer as,
that I don't have to spend them at this speed for all of time. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And then my follow-up question is, does this, one, it's challenging, correct? There are going to be moments where it's challenging for you to do this.
Yes, but it is less challenging because I've named it as such. I hadn't named it this specifically with the coins involved, but
and now looking forward to the fall.
Yeah.
Do you believe that Brooke, who let's say in a theoretical area was putting on her first hoodie, and looking back at her summer, and all the coins that she spent, like a maniac, just like a maniac. Just like a wild maniac mom.
Wow.
Just spending coins.
Library whenever we want.
Making it rain.
Wow.
Spending one and not worrying about where it went.
Was it worth it?
Are you
Let
now?
Me work it. I'm gonna stop right there.
She's gonna stop right there. Are you in the fall inspired by your summer? And sort of that posture, that coin spending posture you had towards your children, to continue it.
I would imagine so, and especially now that we've had a literal conversation about the specifics of it. But it's a version of like the muscle memory and the like. I did it and I was okay.
Yeah,
I did it and it was more than okay. It was great. Or when it wasn't okay, it was still okay. Like the practice of that and the building that up like a muscle, I would imagine absolutely that would get carried into the fall. So here it is.
Here's what we are trying to.
Here's what we're trying to say.
Encourage and challenge you today.
Okay.
That's my sweet spot. 7 wing 8.
Yeah.
Courage and challenge.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to challenge and encourage myself.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're talking to me right now?
I'm talking to the audience.
Okay.
You're entering the summer season.
Yeah.
What is the version of fun summer mom for you that in the fall you'll look back and say, man, that was time well spent. That was a joy-filled season of seeking after the things that God has placed on my heart, seeking after the joy that he has given me, seeking after my family. Like, what is that version of yourself that you're going to challenge yourself to be over the next 3 months so that when you reach the end of those 3 months, you want to continue? Who do you carry a
part of it with you? Yeah.
Who are you becoming over this summer season that you don't want it to end when summer ends?
Right.
That you want to carry through the rest of your life? What? Yeah. Like, do you want to exercise more? Do you want to read more? Who is that person that you can challenge yourself in this short season to gain the muscle memory to continue into the future? And for me, I have my answer. Now that we're talking about it, we switched those rooms over. If I'm being totally honest,
sure,
our house could look the same way it does now forever, and I would be okay with that.
Yeah,
like we got barnacle cabinet handles in our kitchen because that's what Tommy Bahama put in here when he.
You mean like drawer pulls and stuff? I was like, we have barnacles,
seahorses, barnacles, like all sorts of nautical themed stuff. Could it be switched? Absolutely. Would it look better? For sure. Do I think about it constantly? No. Does my wife?
Same.
100%. Do I see my wife come alive when we switch out a room? And if I practice that, and not even like, we're not even doing like massive.
You can't even use the word renovations. I mean, that's like LOL.
It's
aesthetic,
it's
literally
like paint, maybe some finishings.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
Buying a nightstand, maybe. There's an idea.
I'm going to refrain.
Okay.
But there's a deep cut story for the moms on Maui that I will tell. No, I'm just going to leave it on.
Specific to the nightstand?
Specific to something.
Oh. I'm like, what are you pointing at? Oh my word. Don't you ever.
There's stories that
we do have barnacles in our house. Yeah. I see what you mean now.
There are stories that people who stay with us will get. One is when we laugh the hardest we've ever laughed.
Yeah.
That one is first.
Yikes.
And then the other one is to embarrass Brooke. Actually, both of them embarrass you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Anyways, so what I'm getting at is I actually like doing the housework. I just don't feel this like burning desire to get it done.
Do it and get started.
I don't feel that. I don't have that. You know, could you tell me how our house could be nicer? Could I tell you how our house could be nicer? Absolutely. But it does something magical to you. And so the muscle memory that I want to practice.
Well, I no longer have to drive that car.
Is the short fuse that like shortening the fuse from you saying, hey, I would really like to do this, from me being like, okay, to me saying yes. And so I want summer to be a season where I activate, again, which is my word of the year, activate in a physical labor direction on our house quicker and more easily. Because one, I do
You're actually really good at it once you do it.
I do enjoy it.
It's about the getting started and that making it a priority or
yeah, it's just about like pushing past the like apathetic, not in a bad way, apathy, just like I like our house.
Right. I like our house.
You know. Yeah, you know.
Maybe sans barnacle pulls, but
you know what I mean.
No, I know.
And so in the fall, I would love to look back at these last 3 months and say, yeah, TJ, you activated on helping Brooke make her home vision come true in a quicker, more deliberate way. And that's something that you want to continue. There it is.
I love that. Well, backing you up a little, you're like, who are you becoming this summer? Which I love. I mean, that is a question I think we can ask ourselves every day.
Yeah.
Like every day, who am I becoming? Not just what am I doing today? Because I this is a broad brush and I recognize that. But I feel like a lot of, I'll say moms, I think it could be anybody, but a lot of moms who are home with kids all summer, get to the end of the summer and they're like, I don't want it to end. I don't want the pool days to end, you know, or this like feeling or whatever it is. And that's great. I get that. Like I'm not negating it. But that is a very different, like, that's something you're doing that you don't want to end versus like, wow, this person that I was becoming over summer, I don't want her to go away.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave summer Brooke. She's only accessible in those months.
Yeah. I don't want to
who am I becoming that's maybe a step up from that or a step deeper? I don't know what the language is.
I don't know what step you're taking.
I don't know what level we're
upstairs,
on.
downstairs.
I have no idea. But basically, like, can you get to the end of I'll talk to myself. Like, can I get to the end of the next 3 months and be able to see if it's not all of me, a portion of it, that I'm taking that version of Summer Brooke along with me instead of being like,
hopefully
that was
for
fun.
a lifetime.
100%.
Yeah.
Because if I keep doing that season after season and taking her with me and taking her with me and taking her with me instead of like, see you next summer. Like that feels like what a different posture to be at, and imagine myself 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now versus like just leaving them all behind versus like taking the best parts and some of the hard, like, I don't just mean the best parts, but like, if I can be like, man, I really worked on becoming that or this or whatever.
Yeah. It's like, we don't want to see you, Brooke, at the end of the summer, all of a sudden just clench.
Right. Oh, coins are mine again. Everybody start. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and that's the goal. That's sort of the genesis of that conversation of like, who do you want to be this summer? Who do you want to become this summer? And can we continue that into the rest of your life? Because
the coin holding, which I think we talked about this in the first episode where we really talked about it. It does stem from, I believe it stems from, it's like a fear mixed with like, it's a very scarcity mindset. I am going to run out.
Yeah.
Of what? I don't even know half the time, but that's what I fear. And so I put that, hopefully not aggressively, but I can certainly check myself with it on my kids. Mm-hmm. And it, it's a silly example, but June's really into making these like beaded animals right now. Like you take the like craft beads and you string them all up on like a keychain or something, and they look like a gecko or a lizard or a mermaid or whatever. And so she's learning how to do this for the first time. So she's been asking me to sit with her and help, like when she makes something new. Like we made a crocodile the other day, and we had never made that. So she was just struggling a little to figure out which way the string should go. And so I sat with her through the whole thing. And I think it's true to say that a lot of times if she was like, let's make another one, like right now, I would feel like, I can't
spend that coin.
I can't spend that coin.
I need it for bedtime.
Not that I can't spend it on her. It has nothing to do with whether it's worth it or not. I'm even worried for her to spend her own coin there. Like, okay, but if you just make all these today, what if you don't have more for the future? Or like, that's so silly over like a keychain.
No, but that's powerful.
And so I think I'm still early in fun summer mom, whatever we're calling it, fun summer mom. Where like I have felt myself, and honestly, the fact that we're not trying to do several hours of school a day, and like we really need to get this and this done so you actually progress through your grade, that helps because I'm able to say, yeah, we can do another one right now. But I'm trying to just not be so like, is that all going to be okay if we just do more? I don't know. Does that make any sense? What I'm trying to say? Like,
well, I feel like you were about to get emotional and you kind of detoured yourself to like hesitate and.
Oh, I wasn't trying to not get emotional, but, I absolutely want to teach my kids like, hey, sometimes you don't always need more. Sometimes less can be enough. Yes. Like, hey, that's like saying, if I take it, if it's not a craft specific thing, but like, should I eat another sleeve of Oreos? Should I watch more TV? Right. Hey, there's a time and a place to like, let's be done and let's not, and let's self-regulate.
Yeah. Fun summer mom isn't like a gluttonous.
I'm not like abundance, like lack of total structure or anything like that. But taking out all those like more extreme examples of where let's do another doesn't make any sense. And it is something like a craft, or can we stay up and read one more book?
Because it's not really a craft. It's more, what she's
it's not
asking
specific
for
to the craft.
is
It's
she's
more
asking
time.
for your time and your energy and your heart. And she is asking you to just be fully present with her.
Yeah. And so I hope that my stuff, my ish, doesn't stop them. Sorry, I'm like really, I don't even exactly know what I'm trying to say. Like if they want to dive deep on something and spend all their coins, I don't want to stop them because that feels scary for me. And I don't want to project, what if you run out?
Right.
Because I guarantee you, they're not thinking about that.
Yeah.
At least not at the age they're at.
And you don't want to give them that sort of muscle memory that potentially later in life would prevent them from their full living.
Yes.
Which is what has happened to you. It has prevented you
100%
from living fully at times because you're so concerned, whether it be nurture or nature.
On an often subconscious level. I'm not consciously thinking, don't go do that. That's going to cost too much. Like that's not the conversations going through my head. Right. But it is so like
it's been ingrained in you to some extent,
yes.
whether by nurture or nature. And you have spent the last few years sort of like kind of wrestling with that, unlearning that, realizing that you actually do have more than you think you do, that God has provided you with strength and endurance beyond your wildest expectations. But yeah, I love that. I love that sort of like, I don't want my kids.
I don't want to teach them, hey, you might run out one day.
Yeah.
Of what? I don't know.
Right,
we could talk about anything.
Yeah.
Like you could insert anything, energy, I'll even go as far to say money, which feels a little scary because it's like, well, you actually could run out one day of that. But again, but
you won't run out of provision.
Exactly. And so I don't want to, whether subconsciously or consciously, teach them. Hold on to
grip it as tight, white knuckled as you can. Yeah.
Just you wait, it might go away.
Because it's when we live with those open palms, whatever is in them, our coins are like energy coins, our time coins, our literal money coins.
Yeah.
When we live with palms open towards the Lord and say, hey, use what I have, use something silly like t-shirts or like a podcast or whatever. Yeah. And just use it.
Beach holes.
Just use it and I will just be obedient. There is more fulfillment and joy there than 1,000 times, 70 times, 7 times full than when we try to like white knuckle grip those things. And often when you run into people in life who are like curmudgeon, grumpy old people, they have this sort of white knuckled grip on life.
Yeah.
And
or I would also add into that category like extremely fearful, anxiety riddled.
Yeah, both. I think
words
both
are hard.
Both. Yeah.
I would add that into there. I think that white knuckling looks different, but I think it's stemming from a similar place of just
let me, as we finish, let me sort of bring it back. I was thinking about this as you were talking. We sort of started this conversation of like, what's this like? Who do you want to be this summer? Who are you becoming in this summer? And we've been obviously talking about this work sprint and all this kind of life change that we have going on, which is normal. Like that's just normal stuff. I don't say it as like a, oh, we got so much going on.
Oh,
it's just normal stuff.
But we just talk about it.
We just talk about it on the internet.
Yeah.
So we're trying to drive all these cars. And let me end with this. As you're trying to become, what you're really trying to become isn't fun summer mom. You're trying to become someone with palms open towards your children, and you're trying to be willing and able to spend the coins and not really have any stipulation to that in terms of like your love and tenderness and patience towards your kids.
Yeah.
That is the car that you're driving.
Yeah.
So as you drive that car, which car is being left in the dust this summer? Which car are you going to let rust and be abandoned on the side of the road, never to run back and return to it?
Similar to Maui.
And
I've seen those cars here.
Yes. Because I think that I think that helps us, that gives us good language So as I drive this
so
car,
instead of the cars being all the tasks or projects,
yeah,
so specific in the dirt, let's go up a few levels.
Like who are you becoming and what car are you going to drive and take good care of over this season of summer?
Yeah.
And what car are you going to let rust and die on the side of the road? And so for me, as I look at this sort of idea of like, I want to be quick to, and really honestly what it is I want to be quick to show my wife what matters to her, it matters to me. Like I want to be that type of husband. That is the car that I want to drive this summer.
Because that's not specific to the task of house
I just
stuff
want
or not
you
house
to
stuff.
know that like, whether it be a task for the house or whether it be whatever, I want to practice the muscle memory of being quick to show love and honor to you by participating in the things that matter to you.
Which is so cool. Because to me, I'm like, I could take that up another level, which is activate, which really was your word for the year.
And so the car that I'm hoping to leave rusting in the background, which I'm sure I'll go back to it and start it up at some point because I'm a dum-dum. I'll probably crash it into a lifted truck.
Should I park this car here or should I just crash into that one?
Is this sort of car of apathy. Like having sort of just this like apathetic, lethargic, entertainment consumption first mentality, because that's what prevents me from doing some of the tasks and things. And so, I want that car to rust in the background and I want to drive this one of activating and honoring and loving you through that activation. So
it's good. I don't fully know what car I'm leaving behind. And I don't say that like I'm not leaving any. Ha ha ha.
I'm perfect.
Yeah, no, I'm not at all. I just like, I'm going to need a hot second to really think about that from that perspective so that I make sure I do leave one behind.
Yeah.
And I don't just like secretly try to keep driving them all.
Which a lot of us do. I mean, like, and I say that as a joke, but I'll definitely go back to that apathetic car and I'll try to start it back up and I'll drive it further down the road. Like that's just part of like our sinful nature in our hearts of just like, that's just who we are.
Yeah.
But if we have these conversations more frequently
and hopefully eventually that car won't start.
Yeah.
Like if we keep leaving it behind again and again and again, I mean, you think about it, it's going to be full of cockroaches before too long, right? I want to go shove some chicken nuggets in your car and you won't know it. And then you won't want to get back in it.
And so here's like a great example of that. Like, I think let me talk to the male audience. Like there's an element of like, if you're a teenager and you start looking at porn, like you drive that car frequently.
Yeah.
And then eventually you're like, I need to leave this behind, and you do some sort of detox or accountability or whatever. Yeah. And eventually that car is left so far behind that you never even think about it. Like it is possible. I think a lot of times we don't think that's possible, but through sanctification of the Holy Spirit, accountability, being in the Word of God, spending time with fellow believers, like
calling it what it is.
Those things are possible. We can leave those cars behind because of the power of Christ in us.
Yeah.
And so like, I think I want to leave our audience with this sort of challenge and encouragement. If you're married, have this conversation with your spouse. If you're single, have this conversation with like a close friend or maybe a mentor of just like, what car am I leaving behind? Ask that question and have an answer. Come up with an answer. Write it down, journal it, put it on the wall, do something to like, let it be there for you.
Yeah. I am not getting in there and driving anymore.
And when I do, I want that drive to be short until I smash it into a lifted truck so I can get out again. And then 2, it helps me to joke about it.
I know it
and
does.
Then 2, who am I becoming? What car am I getting into?
Yeah.
Or
cars. I think it can be more than one.
Yeah. And
when we're talking about the bigger picture here, but.
So let's have those conversations as we enter a new season of summer.
Yeah. I love it.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for listening.
All right. See ya.
If you guys want to come to Moms on Maui.
Oh, please come. It's going to be so fun. I'm real excited.
I'm really excited for you. That honestly, when I don't have a lot of moments like that, but like, it's like, I feel like the Lord is like,
you like saw it, like gave you a vision a little bit.
Like just like if you could have like that dramatic, like zoom in on
fast.
like a scene of just like, oh, that was it.
Yeah. I love it.
So yeah.
We went and looked for shells then, which it wasn't like a crazy day. It was, the tide was really high. So we couldn't, tide was high. It was a rookie mistake. We went, I have a lot of
didn't have my boots.
Oh, I didn't have my stuff. I only had a kid's shell bag. It's fine. It doesn't fit over me, whatever. So we couldn't go as far as I'd hoped, but when
you have your net,
I didn't have my net and it would have been helpful because the tide was really high. Anyway, we we weren't finding a ton of shells that were like full and complete. It was lots of little pretty pieces, which was still really cool. But it was funny. It just sort of happened. Like, I think Michaela found a full one first and she like picked it up and she's like, it's complete. And me, June, and Sunny and Jesse, we all started clapping. So we're out there on the rocks. Yay! You're doing it. And then eventually, much later, Jesse found a complete one and we all clapped again. It was so funny. Just this like, I don't even think they remembered to take them with them. I think they're still in the garage, but it was just a fun moment. So
so we're super stoked about that. All the details below. Also, best is yet to come. We're a month away. Oh yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say you have some stuff to give away.
Yes. So the best is yet to come is our marriage event. If you want to come, so I have 20 tickets that are going to be free. There's a discount code.
Like one ticket is 2 people?
One ticket is 2 people.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that those of you who like maybe under some sort of budgetary constraints or going through jobs or whatever, like we want to give you the opportunity to come. So I'm going to put a code in the show notes that'll give you a free ticket. There's only 20 of them. So use it and don't use it just because you can use it and then not come. Like this is for people who want to come and want to be there. This is just our gift to you as a podcast audience. So just go use
your money for childcare instead of the tickets.
Yeah. We just want to make sure that like that those of you who may be going through some stuff financially have the opportunity to come, and we don't want the price to stop you. So I'm going to put those codes there. I'm going to also put some other codes down there. You can just read the details of like, if you need a discount, if you need it to be cheaper, like we just want people to be there.
Yeah.
And we're just super stoked about the event July 9th. If you want to buy a full price ticket, that's awesome. I love that. I love that for you. And I love that for me. And I love that for the speakers we have to pay, but we are willing to give away some and give discounts on some just so that we can make sure that you have the opportunity to spend that day with us as we just like try to supercharge our marriages so that we can stop believing that the best of our marriage is behind us and start believing that the best is yet to come year after year after year after year, that the marriage car that we're driving is well-tuned, well-oiled, shiny. Maybe it's electric now. I don't know, whatever. Like it just works well. Wow. So all those sort of like newsy things are in the show notes. We'll try to type them out as understandably as possible. I will also, what episode are we on?
I have no idea.
I will also set up a like automated chat reply if you want to message us just the number 173.
Yes.
I'll kind of give you all those notes in that version too.
Oh, smart. So they could be in your DMs instead of in the show notes.
But message the @WalkInLove account. Don't message the podcast account because I don't pay for an automated chat reply for that account, just for the main account. I think that's it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for making us a part of your week. Okay, I love you. Bye.